Alright, so a couple years back, there was an incident where one kid that was like a brother to me, he was a year older than me, and we grew up together and everything. One day he went out to a party. He went out to a quince that he was invited to, and he didn't come home that night. So what happened was, I don't know what happened, but some guy pulled up with a gun, and for him to protect the birthday girl, he covered her. He was shot. That's where he ended. And we didn't find out until one of our other close friends actually came to my house, knocked on our door, and she hugs my brother and is like, she says, "Abel's gone." So with this, we didn't believe it. We're like, no, we just talked to him and everything. My brother calls him, nothing, voicemail. Calls him again, voicemail. Turn on the news, Abel was gone. So with this, we decided to create a solution where teens can come out and hang out, party, and be with their friends while still being safe.
My name is Kevin Dean. I am the Chief Technology Officer.
My name is Aldo Navarrete, and I'm Chief Financial Officer.
My name is Luis Vasquez, and I am the Secretary of the Palace.
My name is Isaac Rodriguez, and I'm CMO of the Palace.
My name is Lorena Hernandez, and I am the Chief Executive Officer of the Palace.
And as my first stated before, the problem we are trying to fix is having a safe environment for teenagers to go out and hang out. Because some teenagers can go out and have fun, but they don't know the consequences that might have going there, such as there may be potential drugs, alcohol, and other gangs that might pull up and attack them. And another thing is that they're usually bored, and sometimes they want to go out, but they usually don't have the money or a good location to go to.
So the solution we came up with is a set location for teenagers to come with their friends, cousins, family members, etc. to hang out. And what we would like to do is provide them with a place for them to eat, hang out, watch a movie, play video games, play board games, dance, or etc. We want to do this for a flat entrance fee of $10, and the way we would verify that they are from the age range of 14 to 17 years old would be through Student Portal. Student Portal gives you access to the student's full name, their school, their age, and their grade, along with the picture. All this information helps us to verify that it is exactly them, because Student Portal is constantly updated, so the day you turn 17, it changes to your 17. So that way we would be able to check if they are under the age of 18.
So for our time, as we did research on kidsdata.org, we received that there's 131,613 teenagers from the age 14 to 17 in Fresno, Madera, Kings, Tulare, and Merced County. So if each and every single one of these teens were to attend our location 2 times a year with a flat rate of $10, our income would be $2,632,260. So now for our SAM. With this, we decided what county is the closest to us, which is Fresno, since we live there. And we decided with this, if each one of these 62,068 teenagers came to our location, we'll get $1,221,360 for our income. So now for our market share. So, like I just recently stated, we have 61,068 teenagers in Fresno County. If we were to get 400 attendees every weekend for 52, and there's 52 weekends in a year, we would get a total of 20,800 attendees at our location with a revenue of $208,000.
So if we weren't to have a set location within our first year, and we were to host 12 events throughout the whole year with only 60 people attending each event, we would have a total of 720 teenagers attending with a revenue of $7,200 per year for our first year.
Now, who do we see as our competitors? We see Rainbow and John's Incredible as our competitors. We see Rainbow as a competitor since it is a dance club where people can go and dance, but the thing is they serve alcohol there, and that's something we don't want teenagers to go to. And not only that, it's for 18 years and older, so we don't think the teenagers that we are trying to target from 14 to 17 will be able to go. Now, what John's Incredible provides for them is a buffet, so they'll be able to eat there, games, rides, and it's a family-friendly location, meaning that families can go and go with their kids and have fun. But we are trying to target teenagers from the age of 14 to 17, and that is where we come in.
So now for the marketing aspect of our business, the main marketing aspect that we're actually using right now is Instagram. What we would post on there is we basically just post info about our company, and we just post upcoming events that we may have coming up, and we just show what we do and what our business is all about.
So in February, we hosted an event, and we had a range of about 60 people pre-ordering tickets for $10, and we earned about $600. We spent $115. There was a low attendance due to the rain, so not a lot of people showed up, but we still were able to break even.
So with our sales plan, our main goal right now is, of course, we want our business to be more well-known. We want to improve not only our appearance around the area, but also appearance on social media. And we want to target a majority of our audience, which is, of course, is teenagers. Like I stated before, our strategies are going to be social media. We do have an Instagram, and we actually do have a Snapchat and Facebook. But primarily for right now, because teenagers actually use Instagram, then they actually do use Facebook. That's the main reason why we actually are using that.
So as for our financial model, within our first year, we would make $37,425, and for our second year, we would make $39,296 with 25 cents, and lastly, for our third year, it would be $43,225 with 88 cents. All of our money usage would be based off of a toy hauler in order to move around our equipment if we weren't a set location, with music equipment, tables, chairs, decorations, ice chests to keep beverages and other food items like gold, and speakers and lights just to give them like a full experience of what it's like to have one.
So we are requesting $24,000. For that, we will use the money to pay for insurance, which is $1,500 a month, and security for 2 security guards, which is $4,370 for a month, and transportation, which is $8,000 per month.
So currently, we are working with Fresno Unified with the Gender Straight Alliance group. We are hosting an event for them in late September, giving them their own prom, their own / carnival. We were contacted to them through our teacher that works here. She connected us with them, and that is our first current event that we are hosting in late September.
With our website, we went for more of a simple yet modern design on it because we wanted it to be more inviting for people. We didn't want it also to be too word heavy because with a lot of words, a lot of people don't want to read through all those words. And we also used the space so it didn't look empty, because if it's empty, then it just looks like there's a lot of wasted space and it's not very pleasant to look at.
Thank you.
So I loved the concept. My concern is, especially with the opening story, safety and security. And I know you touched upon having security, but I mean, now medical detectors, are you going to do
Can
physical
you go back
search?
to
14 to 17.
to the solution? Yeah. So for our solution, we had put a safety plan, and what we plan on doing is having security to pat them down and do a purse check for girls or guys if they carry side bags or something, just to ensure that they're not bringing any firearm, drugs, or alcohol in. So yeah.
Are you going to put in metal detectors?
Yeah. So they'll pass through and everything.
And how many security officers would you have per so many students?
Initially, since we do kind of want to focus on a small group, since it would be our first event, we want to stick to 2 security, so it wouldn't be so many students, and then yeah, we would have to focus on that.
To add on to what she's saying, as our business grows and we get more customers, our security would also grow with it, so it won't stay behind.
Thank you.
You, for your competitors, you listed John's Incredible, and I view that as more skewing towards a younger demographic perhaps than what you're focusing on. Is there a reason that you didn't view Dave & Buster's as a competitor? Because I would think that would be more of the older teens that you were going to be marketing as well.
The reason why we didn't list Dave & Buster's was because since there's alcohol and a lot of people look really older than what their age actually is, we don't want we didn't really see them as a straight competitor since it's mainly adults who go there.
So how are you dealing with location? So are you renting facilities or are you setting up at a rotational schedule?
As of right now, we are trying to host events like throughout Fresno. Right now, back in February, we had done one here, and we want to do one like more towards River Park, and then another one like in the middle of Fresno, just to see in which location we get more attendance, to see where like more people go.
Okay, and have you done initial cost structures as far as what those rentals will run?
No, we have not.
And you didn't include rental in your budget, but you did include transportation. So what would that entail?
Could you restate that?
In the budget that you had,
Yeah.
you did not include a rental facility fee, but you included transportation costs. So what type of transportation would you be providing?
So we would want to connect with like, let's say, a method such as like Uber, but it would be directly through us. So then that way we ensure that all teenagers are home by Fresno's curfew. So yeah.
So you would pay for the Uber for
Yeah,
students?
it would be like out of our money.
Is that an additional cost? Because I can tell you that from experience in Uber Lyft, when Uber or Lyft drive, that's $8.
Yeah.
Some rare, so we only have like $2 left after that.
Well, what we're looking at so far is we want to make it happen through us, just because, like he had stated, that a lot of teenagers don't work, and our parents can't afford for us to be going out every weekend and like paying for an Uber or something. So we would want, we're working on it coming from us. So I don't know if that makes more sense.
I do have another question because there's a lot of risk involved here. So, have you priced out insurance? Insurance is really costly. Workman's compensation for safety, fire, kids mess around and start the flood. You have a flood with the fire extinguishers, physical damage, anything like that. Because when you have something like this, and you're also using multiple locations, so each location you're going to need some kind of umbrella, at least probably $1 million in liability coverage. Have you guys done your research on that?
We actually had a slide where it talks about our insurance a little bit, but I think that was from month to month. Like it was a monthly plan, not a full year.
And it will rotate venue to
Yes.
venue, so like certificate of liability
Yeah.
umbrella?
Now, when you put together your TAM, you were basing it on a 5-county structure. And so since we have 14 to 17, transportation is going to be a huge limiter as far as how many of those individuals are going to be consumers. So how might you deal with the transportation issue as far as location selection?
Could you expand a little bit more on that?
Well, for instance, so you're dealing with, I would assume almost maybe 30, not knowing the data, 30, maybe 40% of your consumers, your clients, are not going to be able to drive. And so to come into a location in Fresno, are you looking at being near mass transit, those kind of things. How do people get to you? So the 131,000 might be a bit inflated as far as your potential market.
Well, we're trying to see the counties that are actually closer to us, like more packed into the Fresno County, but these were the closest ones we were able to get. So yeah, we just went on based on this.
But I do understand how you're saying like transportation to like Merced to Tulare would obviously be more.
Well, even on the next slide, you kind of narrowed it down to Fresno County, but I think to consider the fact that, you did your projection off of all that 61,000 coming, but keep in mind that like Coalinga is in Fresno County, and that's 110, or an hour and 10 minutes away. So Fresno County is really big, yeah. And if you're going to be, you might want to clarify your transportation costs, because if you're really going to be considering Uber and Lyft and that coming out, if somebody from Coalinga wants to Uber to Fresno to do an event, eat up that $8,000 budget really quick.
Now, you had mentioned that in late September you have a prom kind of carnival event going on, right?
Yeah.
So what are the budget and cost projections for that?
So as of right now, what we have agreed with Fresno Unified is that they are going to be the ones covering all the expenses, and they're actually paying us to do it. And so we're just the ones kind of like reaching out to the catering and the DJ and stuff like that, coordinating it for them.
I was gonna say, do you even need to have a physical space, and could it be something where you actually are more of like event promoter? Because then if you're doing it at different places, locations, they're carrying the liability costs. So you're more of kind of the one setting up the entertainment, the space, getting people hyped up and showing up, and taking a percentage of the sales. And so maybe that's a venue that has food, and so they're just trying to get people in. So that might be something to look more into. And the reason why I'm saying that is because from my experience at Visalia, about 10, 15 years ago, there's a local guy, Aaron Gomes, who does a lot of shows. He used to run shows at the Cellar Door, at Howie & Sons, which was a pizza place. And that was actually probably what kept me from getting into trouble, was going to shows, and also a lot of other kids. So I think that what you're doing is really interesting, but I'm thinking like, you not even need a
Instead
physical
of being a set location.
You might just need to find someone. The problem with that place is that what ended up happening is Howie's eventually kicked the kids out because they were acting a fool and jumping off the tables and like pushing away other clients, right? So that's something that where your security would have to come in. But I think that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I think it's a really good idea and it needs to be done, but I'm wondering if you can have someone else carry the liability. We just have to find that person.
Maybe along those lines, have you thought about partnering with nonprofit organizations that are youth-based oriented? That where, again, same structure where they have the liability insurance, they have the structure, but you can bring the innovative event planning to the client. Something to think of, and especially with school districts that might be more innovative, you know, where they're looking at, you know, like the one that you're doing here at that event. That's a valuable community service. So in your investment ask, you're asking for $24,000 with a 5% return. So you're not offering any equity into the venture, just looking at returning the investment?
Yeah, we would want to do just a return.
So for a standard event, how many, one of the things we look at in providing entrepreneurs, sadly sometimes, don't pay for themselves. So in your cost calculations, have you looked at how many people are working an event and at least using like maybe minimum wage as a baseline to figure out how much your labor costs would be?
Can you restate that, please?
Yeah, so in looking at how many people do you have working an event? So you're going to have what, probably 2 security guards, right? And then how many people will be working with food and?
Music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to answer that?
The doorman.
Well, as of right now, like for the event that we just did here, because that's kind of what we're going based off as a reference, we had some teachers help us out by helping out with the food and the drinks and like monitoring it. So I feel like in the future we would have to talk to any other adults and teachers that have helped us throughout our business to see if they are still willing to help, and if not, then we would look forward into hiring actual people.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so as you're doing the plan, that you'll need to cost that out. You know, say we need 2 people on food, 4 to walk the floor, you know, that kind of thing. And it's fairly easy to calculate, you know, by minimum wage what your cost would be.
I think your overall concept's really great. I think you really need to hone down on these little details that we brought up. I think you had a good overview that, you know, from Uber to security to transportation. One of the things you pointed out right now is getting volunteers. I run a volunteer program. It's not a action, especially when you're dealing with students or moms whose kids get sick. So an employee is more likely to show up to earn income. So you definitely really need to hone down on more of the detail as research, but like I said, overall, I think you guys did a good job.
Thank you.
And it's hitting a valuable community, as you said with your example. I mean, it's absolutely valuable. Now, as far as the website, do you have a operating prototype?
Yeah, it is operating, just the website was kind of frozen this morning, so we couldn't completely get into it. So we just kind of had to grab what we could from, so we could show it.
Okay, and what key features in the website as far as functionality?
The website, as you can see in the bottom corner, it does link you to our social medias. And we do have places where it does give you information about how to get a hold of us and contact us so far. And that's kind of what our website does hold right now, is it holds how to get a hold of us.
Thank you.